Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, performer, producer, and Emmy Award winner. Each week, I bring on inspiring people and experts in their field to have powerful, motivational, and enlightened conversations about relationships, self-development, and how you can love yourself even more. Follow us for daily updates at Love You Even More podcast and at Jackie Brubaker on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. For more on myself and the podcast, including ways that you can love yourself even more, go to loveyouevenmore.com. Welcome, Kelli Hurley, to the Love You Even More podcast. Kelli has been on before. She's incredible. She is this beautiful spiritual goddess. And today we're going to talk all about stress energetics and how stress affects the body and affects alignment and all of the things with your nervous system. You guys, we're all kind of stressed, right? So this is your episode. So Kelli, welcome back to the podcast and tell us what we're going to be learning about today in your own words.
Thanks, Jackie. I'm really excited because stress energetics is something really close to my heart. It is what transformed my life in the biggest ways. Once I started to acknowledge the energetics in my stress response, but also the patterns and the processes that actually are signature to our body, it transformed my life. It, gave me better health, happiness, abundance, my ability to create the life I wanted, right? We all live in this world that has so many things that trigger us into stress. We have coping patterns, we're healing, and our nervous system is on overdrive. Yes. To me, my opinion would be the nervous system hasn't actually upgraded to actually deal with today's lifestyles.
Oh, that's so true.
It doesn't. Our lives bring in so many things that are not even just our lives, but external to us. The chemicals in our food that triggers our nervous system, the new Wi-Fi or radio frequencies. There's stuff coming in from every direction. That alone, the stuff we deal with in our everyday lives, whether it's relationships, kids, family, work, so it's huge. So going into the stress energetics, when I actually acknowledged that there was this signature pattern and pathways energetically in the body, being able to work with those things and shift the energy is the foundation to shifting anything in our physical world. As Einstein said, E equals mc squared. So energy creates the physical matter. So right. The more we're able to shift energetically and vibrationally, change the frequencies and the pathways in the body, we start to just change everything. So it's been absolutely the catalyst for my life becoming absolutely magical. When I say magical, it has become everything I desire from my heart, because when we release the chaos from our head, which is caused by the nervous system, we connect into this place that's more authentic to our heart, to our true self, to happiness. Right. So here comes my cat.
Oh, how cute is he or she?
It's a she. She's like, what? I just got pushed away.
Oh, she can come join in. So when you say stress energetics, what does that actually mean for listeners?
Yeah, so stress energetics, right? The nervous system runs on obviously nerves, and they're run by energy. They actually have specifically light up energy, send energy through neuron pathways. Like people know if we have nerve damage, we lose connection to part of our body. Things don't work anymore, right? And it's because they actually receive energy. Now, for me, stress energetics is understanding that there is specific signatures and specific pathways in the body that relate to stress. They only turn on in a stress response, whether anxiety, depression, PTSD, trauma, even old coping mechanisms. They're what engages within the body. And these are like standard throughout everybody, these main ones. There is also ones that are like circuits, and they're slightly different, and they will vary from person to person, like our own coping mechanisms, our own patterns and triggers. But we actually have this foundation of energy systems that run in the body and that turn on when we're in any state of stress or any state of fight and flight or looking at anything new in our environment. They're governing, is this safe? And that has obviously physical behaviors that go on behind that, whether it's like seeking red flags to see, is this good or bad? So it's like when our mind goes into chaos and we just seem to notice everything that could go wrong instead of seeing anything that will go right. That's a behavioral pattern behind the energetic systems, right? So, I mean, we are energy beings. So, of course, that acknowledging that we work with the energy, it changes everything.
Absolutely. So, for those of us who are listening, let's talk about our nervous system and how it even works so that we can have a better idea of, when you're in fight or flight, what does that feel like? I guess let's start with fight, flight, or fawn and what that means energetically, and also what that does physically to us, because that's a very real physical alarm system.
And most people don't realize that they have this pattern. So for me, two of them would actually show up at different responses in my body. I'm naturally a fight. Everyone has one that's more prominent, whether it's a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Most people notice the first three. Once they become familiar with it, there is even this system that runs. So when my nervous system's triggered by other people and I feel that I'm, being attacked, or there's conflict, or even I need to protect myself and verbally speak up, I would naturally go into more of a fight mechanism, which means that I'm not in control. There's these underlying behaviors that actually take over the body, and we respond actually where we're not thinking about what we're about to say. It just kind of blurts out, and it's almost like we're energetically vomiting on somebody else. But the understand of a fight itself energetically is engaging in war, right? So if you think of it like that, we're fighting. So the other person's going to feel that energy coming at them as in a fight, and they're going to put shields up. So all of a sudden you're both putting shields up, nobody's listening to each other, and nothing gets resolved in that energy most of the time. And say if I went into a fight response and you were freeze, you will just freeze. You won't have anything to say. People shut down. They're like, oh my gosh. And they, it's almost when we get into numbness and we can't physically speak and we're just frozen. It's like a freeze response. So there's nothing. And energetically, it's like the system shuts down. We condense, we become small. And even knowing later on, we wish we'd said something, or we wish we said that was not okay, or wanted to defend ourselves, our body just doesn't allow us to do that, right? So there's this, and then again, flight. People run, literally will turn around and literally run. Like, this is too hard. I don't like conflict. I can't deal with this. And they just get up and leave. So even in relationships that they're with all the time, they just have no capacity to be able to speak because they just leave, exit. And as soon as that conflict comes in, they're like, I'm out of here again. And then they sit there and they have to sit in this chaos still. We still have the overwhelming response in our body. We still have the thoughts, and we, go over the scenarios, and, we feel the energy, we feel the emotions of it, but we can't respond to it. And all three of them do not conduce a healthy relationship or a healthy response, because they're actually a lot of the time subconscious processes that happen within the body that we engaged as children as a way of surviving. So it was our way to limit conflict within our world, but it doesn't also help us resolve the conflict.
Okay, so when we hear about the fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, everybody, I think, can almost think of like, what is your natural response? Yours is fight. To be honest, recently mine has been freeze. And it's been, I'm definitely more of a Buddhist where like I can speak up and I can speak what I need to say, but I'm definitely more like, is it worth my breath? Is it worth this? However, what I've noticed, and maybe this is part of what you're doing and like what we're going to get into is, physically when you freeze, your whole body goes into freeze, including your digestive system. Everything just stops. And so because I was going through quite a bit of stress, in a relationship, my whole body was having like issues just functioning. And I'm like, well, this is fun. And I just knew it was from stress. I knew nothing was really wrong with me. I'm a very healthy person. I eat really well. I'm a healthy person. And I'm like, this is true stress. And it's amazing how much your body will scream to you when you're in one of these nervous system responses. So when we go into, there's the para and the sympathetic nervous system. Would you like to talk about how that works energetically?
Yeah. So what you were just saying then too about the immune system, because energetically when this sympathetic nervous system activates, right? So whether it's fight, flees, fawn, any of them, it's basically the system energetically siphons the energy from the other main systems, okay? So it's taking it from the autonomic systems, the digestion system, our immune system. It actually distorts the energy of our chakras as well. And our auric field becomes really condensed. We become small, right? So this is where people say, I feel heavy. They feel heavy. Their digestion is slow. It's heavy. And so it has this massive impact on our health. But it also has this massive impact on energetically. We end up with a lot of energy. It's almost, I find it's like chaos. We have too much energy in our head. Yeah. And at first, when it first goes off, the blood leaves our head to release the cortisol and the adrenaline in the body so that we can go into this response, whether it's fight or freeze or fawn or flight, whatever it is, the body's using this energy. So there's this frontal lobe is triggered, the energy goes into the body to release this response, and then the mind tries to then engage a balance, but the balance is safety. What do I need to look out for? So all of a sudden, the scenario and the situation we start to repeat over and over again, and we feel like we can't get away from it anymore. All of a sudden, we're seeing red flags and we're questioning everything. And not just even that, anything around us as well. So we start to feel negative about it. And that's where people get caught in this negative looping because they can't see good because their mind is actually engaged to look for anything that could harm you. And it doesn't actually have to be true, that it is literally a system that's just there looking for possibilities of things that could be wrong. So all of a sudden, anything that could be potentially a positive thing for creating good things in our lives, say manifesting or doors opening up or meeting new people, our mind has engaged in this system to actually go, no, that might be wrong. No, they might harm us. No, that walking through that door, we don't know whether they're really, it might take our time away, or they might not pay us what we want, or whatever the thing is. Our mind engages in all these stories and it traps us. It traps us to stay where we are because it can then keep running the system. But the problem is that's where people are like, I don't know how to get out, because to step into the new, the nervous system's engaged, and we need to be able to regulate that response and bring it down to a calming state so we can go into homeostasis, which means that the chemicals in the body start to go into, a regular space. But more so though, even in that homeostasis, it can feel unusual to the body if we haven't experienced it for a long time. So people that are stuck in it, say depression or anxiety for years, their body doesn't recognize that as a healthy thing, and it starts to then create more stories to try and get us back to our stress response.
Oh, that's so true. I have experienced that in the past, and I've seen that with other people where their lives become good and calm and peaceful, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. Let me go make up some worst case scenarios. Let me self-sabotage. Let me create the drama. Let me even take other people's drama and be part of it. Just anything to give them the comfort that they've finally come out of, but they don't know how to work with that. They don't know what to do with themselves.
And that's the biggest thing is we just get trapped in this looping pattern of negativity and we don't realize that's the system itself, a coping mechanism within the actual nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, to keep you what it calls safe. But the safety is actually found now in being in a stress response, which is so unhealthy for our body. And we are actually so unhappy as well, right? And there's all energy. Like if we know the system, it's like I said, it contracts, it's siphoning energy from the other systems. So if we can start to bring energy back to those systems, and sometimes we need to be really consistent. A lot of the time we have to keep repeating and repeating to tell the body, oh, okay, I'm allowed to be all right here. Oh, I'm not supposed to be stressed right now. Because the nervous system all of a sudden doesn't know that anymore. It's just gone into hyperactivity and it's overactive and everything's a threat. And then that's when people get really sick in their lives. So
gosh, you're so right. I also would love to add, because I think this goes right with it, is that when people, again, like when they start getting happier, having calmer lives, whatever, they look for the stress, but also, oh shoot, what was I just about to say? Sorry. Oh, I just lost it. Something in that realm. It's like, shoot. Well, I guess I'm not supposed to say it. That's weird.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back to you when you're meant to.
That's true.
And you're like, that's
all
it.
Right.
That's
well, oh, wait, no, here it comes. It's like right there.
I've got it. It's coming back.
My memory is literally like trying to encode. It's like, nope, we found it. What I was going to say, here it is, thank you, is that when you're like okay, so you've done some work, or you think you've done some work, or you've had some experiences come to you that calls for you to do the work on yourself. Mm-hmm. And that feels incredibly uncomfortable. And you want to just defend yourself and be like, that's not what I'm doing. No, you are wrong. But the universe is literally throwing it in your face like, hey, buddy or lady, whatever. This is your moment to learn and to evolve and to change. It's going to feel awful, guys. And your first response is going to want to go back to the comfort of either stress or to run away from what the universe is asking you to evolve into. And either way, you're still running away from like what could be peace. And I think I want to highlight that you can be in a stress response when good stuff is actually trying to happen to you that could make you a better person. So if you are feeling stressed because you think other people are putting that on you, or the universe or your job or whatever it's asking you to level up and it's scary, maybe just for a second, instead of being like, no, it's a stress response and it's not good and I'm just going to go do my old thing, just sit with it for a second. Just a thought. That's it. That was my thought. So,
well, it's true, because that's one of the places where people abandon the change, right?
Yes.
When we step into creating new processes and we're awakening to the subconscious patterns, coping mechanisms, how our behavior was, what was triggering us, and we start to actually sort of work with that, all of a sudden, most people start to, it's almost what I say is like a TV screen. This TV screen appears, and we now start to see where it's playing in all areas of our lives. And now we feel like there's more of it. But the thing is as it's becoming unconscious, it's now a conscious thing that we can see. In being conscious, we can hack the program. We can't hack something that's subconsciously playing out and destroying our lives. So we're now being given by our soul, is really where I think of it, is as our higher self is now going, here, you want to change this. You need to look at this area of your life. You need to look at this pattern or this response that you have so that you can now take a new process, because what you're doing is working, right? But it doesn't mean that it gets easy. And usually at that stage where the TV screen gets really loud and we're starting to see it everywhere is actually the pivotal point where we're about to destroy it all. We're about to break down, and it's called destruction. It's a destruction stage, right?
It is. It's the self-sabotaging stage.
Yep, that's where we go, oh no, this is too hard. There's way too much of this chaos in my life. Obviously this isn't working. I feel like there's more of it. Well, really, that was always there. We just didn't notice it before. And then the next stage, again, we go into a void. So we're sort of sitting in a space where it's like a limbo. It's like, okay, we've addressed this. Maybe there's a little bit of echo still going on. Energetically, we still sort of see a few of those patterns pop up occasionally, but we're in a void, right, of what's next. And that scares the nervous system because it can't predict. So now it's engaging again. And it's like, oh, so then people are like, that's where the nervous system is going to try and echo and call back the old patterns.
Yes.
And we just got to begin to clear and delete. I'm not stepping into that energy. I'm going to keep being persistent here. And we start to see this new coping process or these new behaviors come in. And now we're like a baby walking around, not knowing how to respond in this world. What are our boundaries? How do we engage with people in this new behavior, and learning to make it actually a healthy behavior, so it's because any behavior can have unhealthy tendencies, right? Everything has a good and a bad. So how do we step into this and doing it in the best way possible? Right. Most people, because they're conscious, are actually witnessing themselves and taking positive action, and they go, oh, I made a mistake there. Okay, I'll do this better next time. And it's not an ingrained pattern either, because it's just been tried once. It's something we go, oh, that didn't work. Okay, we're now doing it in a different way. And then we can start to be more persistent. And then it becomes eventually unconscious again. We don't have to think about it. These patterns become subconscious programs like the old ones did, because we become consistent at doing this new, better behavior.
Right. And I think it just takes so much courage of anyone to try to break their old patterns when they are starting to see, oh, wait, who's the common denominator? It's me. Like, I need to break this subconscious stuff that I've been doing. It's very hard to take responsibility and to admit, oh my gosh, these coping mechanisms that have been my survival story are holding me back from real happiness, peace, calm, all of the things that you might want. And it is really humbling to go through this work, because you are going to be that baby and stumbling and falling and literally getting it wrong every freaking day, left and right. But yeah, that's when people say you got to do the work. That's the work, guys. Like, that's the work, is the baby steps and the failing and learning and failing and learning. And if you can stay in that, like you said, I love this, that you're literally teaching your nervous system to have a brand new way of coping, because now you're doing it the right way. And it's like, oh, here's the red flags and here are the green flags, and it's different and we're evolving. So this is so much incredible knowledge, like so much wisdom. So say someone is in that spot where they're like, I'm the baby, and this sucks. In what you do, like, how do you start from there? Or even if they're not quite the baby yet, but they're like, wow, everything is just going wrong. I can never do anything right. Like, how do they go from there?
Well, I think in that baby stage, there's two things that are going on. One, we got these open eyes. We're curious. We're like, oh, how does this feel? And we start to sort of connect in. So that's the first thing I tell people. Get out of the head, get into their body. Start to feel, how does this feel? Yes, it might be scary. Is there truly a threat here? Am I safe? Really, is this going to be detrimentally impacting my life, these steps I'm taking, in a positive or negative way? Because so often we get this door that opens and we might have these stories that might say, oh, I'm not good enough or I'm not experienced enough. And then we go, actually, but the opportunity's there. What am I going to learn? Can I actually step in there? Will I be safe? Could there be something I gain out of this? I mean, that was what happened when I did my book publication. I was like, I'm not an author. I didn't do well at English at school. Oh, goodness, who would, And then I realized I have so much knowledge to share. And what was I losing by sharing my story, right? But I could quite easily shut myself down at that point of being this baby and exploring this new place of showing up in the world in a different energy. I think it's the stumbling too. I mean, in every part of it, we are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has shadows and gets triggered occasionally. And when we start to acknowledge that we are trying to do our best and we come into this space, even with our coping mechanisms, and we go, okay, they're not serving us anymore, or the way I responded there, that was probably not the best way. It had this effect. Don't judge yourself. That's the number one thing, is we shame ourselves, and that actually pushes the energy back down and it distorts. And a distorted energy rears itself back up to play out again. Whereas if we acknowledge it and go, okay, I was actually trying my best. I learned something very valuable through this experience. It all of a sudden becomes something we take forward in a positive way instead of a negative way that becomes distorted and is likely to energetically play back out. It's actually an exciting time to me when we're going into the baby stage because one, we've trained our nervous system to start self-regulating.
Yes.
So it's not on all the time. So we also can see positivity. It's not just this negative response anymore. We've started to train the nervous system to reset and reset. And so we might see flags, but we see all these green things too. And we're like, oh, this could be fun. This could be exciting. This could feel good, you know? And so there's so many beautiful things that come into that place. Yes, there's scary parts, and yes, there's going to be stumbling, but there's also going to be a lot of places that we're going to be like, oh, I'm really loving this path, and oops, I tripped on that rock, but that was fun. I seen a butterfly as I went, you know, sort of thing. And it vibrationally is actually exciting because we're all of a sudden now can be sitting there going, all right, what could my life be? I'm actually got this exciting, I'm in a better place than I was. Everything is, are you in a better place than you were?
Right. That's everybody's wish is to be in a better place, right? If they're not happy where they are, like, how do I get to the next step? That's a really good question. So getting to your next step, you have to be the baby, guys. What would you suggest someone do to like take that first step?
So I guess, well, it's that nervous system regulation, learning that first thing. That's the biggest thing is I always say to people, one, we need to be resetting this energetic thing. So we're opening the energy pathways so that we have this ability to see the green flags and to not shame ourselves. Actually go into a process where when we see something, we consciously say to ourselves, oh, I see that. I actually have the ability to witness this and get curious and ask, what was it serving? How was that serving you? Because it actually was doing something for you for it to stay there. Whether it's in the most distorted ways and it doesn't feel that way, that system was engaged and used because it was serving you on a subconscious level in some way. So seeing that and taking ownership, like we need to be self-responsible and not judging in that self-responsibility, but just getting to know ourselves. It's like that energy and that part of ourselves has been condemned. It's been jailed. It's not had anything hold its hand. Now we're starting to hold the hand of a piece of ourselves. And by holding its hand, it's got the capacity to come up and be let go of, right? It's going to feel more ability to be outside of our body than be held trapped inside our body and hiding from you. And that's the truth, right? Because I think in shaming and these processes that don't work, they feel condemned, and therefore they hide from us and they play out in, you know, unconscious ways until they're conscious.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a perfect explanation. And then what? How do we get to the other side of like, I'm good. Like nervous system is good. I feel regulated. I spot the green flags. Is it just keeping that as a habit and doing those things in a habit?
So once you've engaged these systems, so for me, when I engage in these patterns, like using my processes to reset my energy all the time, this became natural for my body. And yes, there was really parts where my body was like, oh, but I actually recognized my body was going into those systems because I'd feel tension in my head. I'd start to notice this negative chatter going on in my mind. So I was actually aware of it. I'd be like, oh, wonder what set that off. And I was actually quite surprised at what was setting off my nervous system. Sometimes it was just my phone beeping, the sound of a car, like a certain person's car, right? Even it wasn't them, you know? And I was like, wow, I'm home and I'm safe and I'm about to message a friend. There's nothing here that needs to be, you know, but so that recognizing where these systems are actually engaging and getting familiar with them, we can then shift that in such a different way. And it changed my life. It literally changed my life because even then, I mean, years ago, I, you know, there was a lot of abuse going on in my world and, you know, disharmony in the relationships. And I just felt like I was struggling. I was a single mom. I felt like I was just literally pushing shit uphill, right? Excuse
Yeah.
the language, but it literally felt like that. And every time I turned, there was another battle or, another attack. And I was literally going, I'm not being the mum I want to be. I'm not showing up the way I want. I want to create a better life for me. There were so many things in my life that was just being dragged down a drain. And I felt it. I couldn't even think straight to make food for my children without my head chatting. And so my day wasn't even productive. And so eventually I got to this point where I was able to reset my nervous system unconsciously. I had to practice it consistently for such a period of time. And the steps are easy because my life, I had little kids. I didn't have time to go and do an hour meditation every day. And it wasn't possible. It actually stressed me out more because I was going to get interrupted. They're going to start fighting, or there was something going to happen, and it would just be actually conducive to what I wanted to receive. So I had to find other simple techniques that I could use in my day-to-day life that allowed my body to energetically reset. Right. And then I'd started to feel more light and more expanded. Like literally, my mind was clearer. I actually had better ways to answer questions or get things done. I sort of felt like instead of going A, B, C, D through all the steps and really having to think about what I was doing, I literally felt like I was going from A to E really fast. And I was getting more time in my day to actually do more things to enjoy and bring more happiness into my life. So it got to the stage that last year I engaged in some court action, and I engaged in it, whereas 4 years ago, I physically couldn't do it. I was an emotional mess. I was consumed by these systems. I could not cope. I was scared of doing the thing. And I wasn't emotionally in a place where I could even approach those things without being triggered or having the system go off and start to yell, because that's part of the fight response, right? And that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go in there in that energy. And when I engaged in this system last year, I was able to go in such a calm place. I just was like, whatever happens here. I feel like this is the only thing I can do to resolve these issues that are going on. It's for me and the children to create a better life, to break us away energetically from this leaky energy that kept appearing in my life. Yeah. And I was just so scared to walk through that door and do that thing. For years. I just couldn't do it. And when I sat there, I was like, wow, I'm doing this thing and I'm in my own energy. I feel confident. And I tell you what, it shifted my life. That scenario stopped. It literally, and I was able to put energy into other things that I enjoy in my life, to help other people and to use it towards my children instead of ringing friends and complaining about this stuff that was going on in my world. I actually could put the energy into creating magic in my life. And it just showed me how much. And then I realized how much this system also was so important, because spiritually, as we're evolving or awakening, these systems are going on. I mean, in my health, having energy to chase my children, to not getting sick every time one of them come in with a little bug, because they're young. I mean, all these things improved in my world. And then I had much better relationships around me. I had friends that I could openly talk to about my emotions without being completely crumbling into a piece and, not even being able to understand what was going on in my own world. I could actually see things a lot more clearer, start to see that is the issue. How is it serving me? What do I need to do to actually change this? Or how do I move that energy out of my body, the emotion out of my body, or that behavior? Is it something that's repeating? Is that something I need to look at, And it just, everything changed. Everything in my life changed. And all levels, I leveled up, my life leveled up, I leveled up with the universe. It gives you that opportunity. If you're more expanded energetically, you're connected to more of that etheric field to have what you desire. If you're in your heart and living from a place of peace and happiness, you're in a higher vibration. You're in an alpha frequency more often. And therefore, you've got the ability to create all the magic in your life, those things that really mean something to you, and fill your cup up instead of draining the cup.
God, all of this is just gold. I always think about our bodies as being how much is the percentage of water? It's like 98% water or something crazy. And how water
Mhm.
is such a conduit, and the negativity from your nervous system, etc., changes your whole body, changes the energy you're outputting, and of course manifests over and over and over again what you don't want because you believe it. And everything you're explaining is how to really become aware of using your body as an instrument so that you can put yourself in the most highest alignment, your highest timeline, to create the life that you really do want, even if it's as simple as just peace. I think a lot of us in the spiritual community are just, you know, we're really just trying to attain peace. I think that's like
Mhm.
the highest level of achievement for me, at least. I always am like, where's my highest level of peace? And when I listen to all of this and I think about the work that I've done and all of it, it just boils down to peace. And if your peace is any which way um taken away or distorted or confused, it's never worth it. No matter
Mhm.
what the story is, guys, in your head or outward, your piece is so huge. And I think what you're describing is just the ultimate way to use your nervous system, your body, and your own energy that you naturally create with the universe together to create the most aligned life and have your soul be so happy and evolve. I mean, I think that's the goal. So this is incredible. I know you have something you want to share with us. So please tell people how they can learn, like work with you and do this with you, because Kelly's a very special individual. And I mean, if you've listened this far, then you already know it. But tell people about what you're doing.
So I've actually started creating the stress energetics as a program for people because I, do these one-on-one healing sessions with my clients, and they get so much from them because I teach them tools. But in 2 hours, there's only so much that I can deliver. Like there's so many, and there's steps. We start to work through one part, and again, we go into another phase. And if we don't have that awareness around that stuff, how do we get stuck and we move back into the old system, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done this. I worked the processes. I've dissected this thing, and I was like, seeing what it transformed in my world and seeing what it's done for so many of my clients. I want to help so many more people because we all engage in things that are stressing us. We all have work and family, and we're limited on time, and
Yeah.
we have even challenges that come out of the blue where all of a sudden, for me, it was my ex-husband just was like, I'm leaving. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the family thing. Or, we have someone die in our family all of a sudden, and it comes out of the blue and it destroys this dream that we've had, right? And so there can be so many different things. I know I get mums that come in and say the kids have grown up and left home, and all of a sudden they're like, who am I?
Yeah.
I've done this thing all my life, and
Yeah.
now I feel lost. And they get stressed because they have no idea how to move into another way. And
Yeah.
so again, then they become ill and they kind of go into the head chaos, and they're looking for ways. So I think for everybody to move through, whether it's spiritually or, relationships, to feel better, to heal, all the things, everything, if we can start to teach our nervous system to reset, we move through our lives with so much more happiness. We create abundance and we find peace or ecstatic. I mean, there's things that I received. I went for peace, and then I've received so many other things that I just didn't even know were possible. The ways that I felt and the things energetically, I'm like, wow, this was outside of my wildest dreams, and I want that for everyone. We all deserve that. We all have things that happen. And whether, I just, yeah, for me, it's a passion. And I was like, the more people I can reach, the more people I can help, and to give them tools that work, that they can do the thing. It's, yeah, that's my goal. The more people I can help to actually come into a place of what is aligned for them vibrationally. And I would say to come to where I am, but this is my life. It's not an expectation to have what I have. It's what is aligned to you. The more we heal this system, the more we come into truly who we are. And the right doors and the right opportunities become where they're supposed to be. And then they start filling their cup up, and they have more time in their day and more joy, and they smile more, and they see the beauty in the simple things in life. Listening to the birds and the trees, people are like, how does that bring happiness when they're stuck in the thing? And I'm like, oh, it does. It brings so much joy when we feel the air on our skin, but our body needs to be in a place that it can receive that. And so when we can start to come to a place where the simple things in life can actually make us smile, that's what it is. For me, it's how do we get to a place where life moves through us? We actually are living life, and we can feel life. We're connected to life itself instead of just doing life, right? And just doing the things. There's so much beauty in this world, and we all deserve that. So that's my goal, is to help as many people as I can energetically become more vibrationally aligned to whatever is for them, and to help their body upgrade this nervous system, because we're continually getting hit with new things, and we need our bodies to be able to move through those.
Kelli, thank you so much. By the way, if you guys could see her, she's literally glowing. She's just glowing. Stunning human right now. Just stunning. Everything, you can find Kelli in all the show notes, all the links to everything she is. You can find her to work with her. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been such an incredible episode, and I've gone on the journey with you. I know you guys have too. So thank you so much, Kelli.
Oh, thanks, Jackie. I really appreciate it. Yeah, they can find me at Energetically Inspired. So anything that they need, but yeah, the links will be there. And I'd love to, if they want to reach out and have a chat and see how this might work for them, I'm here to help. So yeah, thanks, Owen. It's really exciting to be able to share with you guys.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there.